Hi guys, Reese here from Global Music Imports, and today we've got one of the most fantastic interviews that we've had to date. Louie Shelton is with us in the house. He's one of the original cats from the LA Wrecking Crew scene, and also one of our Tyler guitar ambassadors for Australia. Joining us shortly will be Rich Renken, also from Tyler Guitars, and he'll take us through, I'm sure, some interesting stories about Tyler and how it all came about. Louie, thank you so much for sharing your time today with us. I'd like to ask you a couple of questions, just for the audience who may not know who you are. Can you tell us a little bit about your time in the LA session scene and with the famed Wrecking Crew guys?
Well, it was such an honor to sit next to those legendary players, Hal Blaine, Tommy Tedesco, all the different bass players and drummers and keyboard players that were in at that time. For me, it was like winning the lotto.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Because after playing in clubs for all of those years, it was such a step up to be able to just go into the studio and be surrounded by these great players and great artists that we got to work with, you know. And we're talking about my time with the Wrecking Crew was mid-60s to mid-80s.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of great artists that came through, the Carpenters, Lionel Richie, oh my gosh, Mamas and Papas, Joe Cocker, all of these people that I had admired from the distance, but to actually be called to come in and play on their record was a very exciting time.
Oh, that'd be just absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
What was like a career highlight for you as a session player back in those days? Like if you could pick one thing that was like
hearing the first hit that you played on the radio.
Yeah.
You know, it was exciting. A country boy from Arkansas, you know.
So what was it? So what was that like when you first heard that? You know, that hit on the radio coming down the line.
Well, it was shocking because I remember the first time I heard it. I had just gotten into my car, and I hear this thing playing, and I think that sounds familiar. And then pretty soon I realized it was Last Train to Clarksville.
Wow. Wow.
That we had just recorded, and it seemed like it was on the radio in 2 days from the time we recorded it. Wow. Really, they put it out there very quickly. And then from then on, as you're driving from session to session, you know, we were doing them all day long. We'd start in the morning and finish late at night. So the only time we got to hear the radio is when we were driving from one session to the other. And as time would go by, I'd hear more and more of these. I hear the Jackson 5, you know, or someone like that that I'd played on. And it was always exciting. And it got to the point to where, even to today, if I go out to, you know, if I'm out shopping or something and they're playing that music on their sound systems, I'll hear something I played on every day that I walk into a mall. I'll hear something I played on.
Wow, that's legendary. Yeah. And if you could pick one session out of all the sessions that you've done, and I know you've done like literally thousands of sessions, what would be the career highlight, or the person that you love working with the most?
Well, there's a few of them, and I would say Lionel Richie, working with him was the top, you know, top of the list, and Boz Scaggs.
Yeah, wow.
Because you got these great artists there also giving you a good vocal to play to, and they appreciate what you're playing, you know, they're so respectful. With Lionel, the first time I recorded with him, we played the song down the first time, and we just have a chord chart. So I'm listening and I'm just doodling around on the guitar, and we do that first run through. And he said, "Man, that was great. Play that again." I said, I don't know. I don't even know what I played. I was just feeling around, you know?
Yeah, jamming.
And he said, "Okay, engineer, from now on, when we're recording, I want you to roll the tape on the first take, because sometimes Louie will play something that we want to repeat, and we'll have to play the tape again to refer it, so I could learn what I played. So I thought that was...
Yeah. And you've also worked with the Jacksons on the Jackson 5s. So what was that session like? Can you tell us about that and how you actually physically got that phone call to come in and do that?
Yeah, that was pretty early in my session career. We had done the Monkees stuff, Last Train to Clarksville, which featured my guitar a lot, and Valerie. It was exciting in that I was a Motown fan. I had listened to their stuff, and we played it in the clubs for all those years. And so Motown had moved out from Detroit to L.A., and so they didn't bring that original band with them. They put together a band in L.A. for that, and I happened to be one of the players that got that gig. And the Jackson 5 at that point, nobody knew who they were. This happened a few times, like with the Monkees and the Partridge Family, and we played on their first record, so we didn't know who they were. Nobody knew who they were. We didn't know if it would be a hit or not. But the first song we recorded with the Jackson 5 was "I Want You Back," and it's been voted one of the top pop records of all time.
Yeah, wow.
And that record still sounds great today.
Yeah, it sure does.
We just sat in the studio and came up with that arrangement, just this little group of musicians, and somehow it worked.
Yeah.
Because the Jackson 5 weren't there, only the producer and the writers were there. So it was later on that I went down to do an overdub. That was the first time I saw Michael Jackson. He was 11 years old, and he was doing his vocal on "I Want You Back."
That's incredible.
And it was just me and the engineer and the producer there. So I really, I got to witness that historical event of him doing his first
that
record.
would have been absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah.
So looking back on that, you'd be pretty proud of your career.
Yeah, oh yeah, and so lucky because it's a very hard click to get into, that session thing. And timing is everything. Glenn Campbell had been one of the #1 session players up to that point, and then he got his hit record and quit doing sessions, which left a little bit of a vacancy there.
Vacuum there.
So, and Glenn was a good friend of mine. We worked together in Albuquerque before he even went out and became a superstar. And so I kind of filled his slot there. Otherwise, he would have still been doing sessions, and I'd still be working in the nightclubs.
Yeah.
What decisions did you make about, when you're working with, say, the Jackson 5, about tone? Like, were you choosing a specific guitar or pickup, or how did you make your choices of tone?
At that time, we didn't have all the choices. I had just come from working in clubs. I had one amplifier and one or two guitars. So I was either playing a Strat or a Tele on all of that stuff. And we didn't even have pedal boards at that point. So it was straight into the amp. So it wasn't a big choice for us. You brought what you had, and that was it.
And what do you like about the choice that you have now in tone?
Oh, it's incredible. I mean, you can go from a clean jazz tone to Carlos Santana at the click of a switch, and everything in between. So I mean, it's always fun and exciting to get new toys. There's always something new coming out, and the stuff is just so good. I've got a little box over there that they sent me.
Yeah.
It's got every kind of amp and effect.
Yeah.
Isn't that something? that's Ampero's stage.
Yep.
And I mean, if you can't get a sound out of that that works for anything you want to do, and you carry it in your back pocket practically, you know.
Are you liking the sound of digital processors these days?
Yeah, yeah, they're getting very close. I wouldn't say that it's replaced my little Princeton yet, but having the convenience of having the Princeton here all the time, and running it through running effects through that, is still my first choice. But for a live gig, a traveling gig, that thing works great.
What's been one of your secrets of tone? Like, is there one specific thing that you go, I can't work without this? Like, is it a pedal? Is it an amp? Is it a guitar?
You know, my favorite pedal to have on all the time is the little tube screamer, and I like a little reverb and just a little bit of delay, and I can do a whole gig with just that.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
It's all in the fingers, isn't it, Louie?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I have to have something that's responsive as far as an amp that will at least do the job. But other than that, I don't require a lot of multi effects.
Yeah.
I don't use it in my stuff, you know.
Yeah.
I just play a lot of notes.
Yeah. Yeah, and good note choices too, by the way. They've been on a lot of hits. So, if you had some advice for young Australians and any musicians wanting to take this career path, what would you say to those kids coming up through the ranks now?
Well, it's
because it's changed, hasn't it? The industry a lot.
It has. Like anything else, I mean, practice to get as good as you possibly can, so that if you ever do get that chance, you're ready for it.
Yeah.
And you need to be versatile. You need to have your gear together and in tune. I wasn't a reader when I got into the session thing. I kind of learned to read as I was doing sessions.
Yep.
But I think it's an important step to go ahead and learn to read as you're learning everything else on the guitar. At some point in life you're going to need it.
Yeah.
And especially live gigs, because a lot of people, you get called for a gig and maybe not even a rehearsal, and they'll send you the charts and say, here's what we're doing. So you need to be able to read those charts.
Yeah.
A guitar is different than most of the instruments in that it's usually just chord charts for us, and they want us to play our own licks and try to play what fits the tune.
Yeah.
But still, there will be times when you need to read, and also it's just it's a great thing to be able to be able to read, to learn new stuff, because everything's available now.
Yeah.
And charts. So, I mean, I'm still learning. I mean, I come across these new guys on YouTube all the time that shows me something else that, just try that, And
there's some amazing players out there.
Oh, man. It really opened the door to so many great players that we would have never heard of if it wasn't for YouTube. Guys in Italy and Russia and France and all over the place. All of a sudden you come across this guy that you've never heard of. That's just fantastic.
Yeah.
And they build their own following and become very successful.
What was your first big break? Like, what was your first time from going from little stage to working with someone that you went, whoa?
It was the Monkees, because I had done the demos for these writers that wrote for the Monkees and produced the Monkees. They had been just writers for Screen Gems, a publishing company. And so they would write a few songs every week. We'd go in and record them. And so when they got to the deal to do the Monkees, that was a big break for them. And they wanted to use musicians that they were familiar with. So I was lucky that I was one of those musicians.
And then how did that turn into your next?
Well, Hollywood, the way Hollywood works is I had been there I got in Hollywood in '63 and wanted to do sessions, but I had to end up playing in clubs and taking road gigs and playing on demos because none of the producers wanted to try anyone new. They had guys that they, were used to working with. It wasn't until Last Train to Clarksville became a hit and those producers heard that. And they were friends of the producers who produced it. They said, who played guitar on that? So once that happens, then all of those producers that didn't want to know you before, now they want to get that guy that played on that record,
Yeah.
So that opened up the door for me.
Yeah. You just got to run through and open as many more doors as you can from that.
Oh yeah. Well, then the calls start coming into you. People start calling me, So I filled up my book with recording sessions pretty quickly after that.
And this was all in LA?
Oh yeah, it's all in Hollywood there.
Would you recommend to people now to go to Hollywood and try and make it?
Well, there's not as many opportunities there. There's still work there. There's TV and film and some sessions. There's still guys there that are still doing a lot of work. Dean Parks and Michael Thompson and those kind of guys. Steve Lukather when he's in town.
What do you think the next Hollywood is, like for the next generation, where the next opportunities lie?
It's hard to say because of the whole record company thing is so different. Because record companies were the guys that paid us, and they had a lot of artists. And these days, a lot of the producers are making the whole record with their computer, and maybe have a guitar player come in to do an overdub or sax or whatever. But the session scene in LA is nowhere what it used to be. It's closer to being that in Nashville. I think they still have more full band sessions in Nashville with the whole band there. But even that's getting a little bit where the producer's doing a lot of the producing with a computer.
No, we've got Rich.
You got Rich?
Yeah.